cargoes on board came back with brandy and tobacco. And we have various names of ships that did that, including the Helen, and we came in 1710, 1720 the Jeanette and the Sarah, 1721 the Betty. So that you've got all these boats trading and bringing back the brandy and the tobacco to here. But they're proper little local coasting boats. Later on, when George Moore had been to visit all these people that he was involved with, Ardwell South, he would come here and wait for a put across to the Isle of Man. The reason was it was a constant trade back and forward between the island and here. You usually didn't have to wait very long. Also, if anybody hadn't paid him for last year's goods, he would say, "I will see you at Port Nessoc." And often the letter would start from the island, "The wind was right, I left before you came." Well, the person was never ever going to come, however long he had waited, and usually that person would end up in debt and in court. There was a man called John Love. Now, he clearly came from this area, and he went to live on the Isle of Man with his wife. And when he got to get on the island, he persuaded one of the boatmasters to bring him back here. That was fine. The boatmaster earned quite a lot of money for coming dark of the night to bring John Love and all his goods to Port Nessoc. But when he got back home again, he lost his job because John Love had owed some money to the man who mainly employed Thomas Crosday. So unfortunately, he helped escape one of his boss's worst creditors. There's a long story about the sister wherein she dropped off some goods at the crew, and then she came down here to wait for Caesar Parr, who was her master at that stage, and he was collecting debts, and he said he would come down here and he would meet her at John Main's salt pan. I've given up trying to work out where that was. I've decided it's close to here. So let's say she had come here. But he said if there's a fair wind, go to the island. So she comes here and she's told there's a revenue man after your boat. He's seen you lurking, so you must go. So she finally sets off with a whole load of money who come for some reason from the Isle of Man over here, perhaps with some of their knitting, because they were great knitters in Ramsey, and they'd come over to sell their knitting. And they all wanted a lift. So you don't know their names. You know Simon Cowell's mother, somebody else's mother, somebody else's mother. Well, they set off in the boat, and they're hardly out of this bay when the wind turns, and they run back in for their lives. And two of the people on board the boat, not two of the mothers, but two of the crew on board the boat actually drowned, and the boat wrecks. There's a long court case on the island between the two owners. Caesar Parr told her to wait here for him, his only part owner, and the other owner says, "Will you owe me for half the wherry?" This court case goes on and on and on, and it's only after about 10 years that somebody says that was the time to let it run. The whole of the rest of the court case is about the loss of the wherry, which shows how very different it was in those days. We're going to pause briefly at Wreck Farm, so I'll save that next bit to it. Now we have various ships that actually were here. A lugger of 18 guns and 60 men had landed a cargo of brandy in Goose Bay. She paused here on her way on. Great big whacking ship we got here as well, full of arm. 1802, a smuggling lugger called the Intrepid lost her cable and anchored just off Port Logan, sent a message to the local boatman, "Please can you get them up when you can, it's too stormy, we're moving on." She's described as with at least 30 guns. So she's just been sitting here, not invading, merely a heavily armed smuggling vessel. 1824, there was a large smuggling cutter who was going fisherman is charged with salt smuggling. They try to arrest him in Port Logan, and they say the only way to do that is not to go by the direct road to Port Logan, because there will be people watching out for the people coming to arrest him, and he will be hiding. They never actually manage to arrest him, because whichever route they come, you've seen it. You know, somebody sees him coming, message, go and hide. So he disappears, so we keep a salt smuggler. And then we have the commander of the Justice Hulk, we've heard about her at Drumore, and he manages to arrest somebody here successfully. Finally, they appoint a customs officer who doesn't know the coast, and he has to cover the area from Patrick down to here, and he doesn't stand a chance. So another customs officer is sent to help him. I haven't got it in the notes, but they never seize anything, and the reason is they both married local girls. So there you have it. Here, the smuggling story, and this is why we've come. Now I'm just going to nip down to the Fishpond itself and say hi and thank you for the car park. So if you want to look around, take photographs, and nip back on board the bus. And when he owed his creditors so much money, he decided he would go first to Dumfries to try and get a job, and then he went to the Isle of Man, where he heard that George Moore's daughter was widowed, and he thought if he married the widow, then George Moore would pay off his debts, which were about £2,000 multiplied by 60 to get some idea of how much money it was. That did not work, because he did get married, but when he asked his father-in-law if he would please pay the debt, George Moore said no. So William Maxwell has to come back here, and he sells Ardwell, and Patrick Shank, the local smuggler, buys the house and lives here briefly. Whilst William Maxwell was on the Isle of Man, he leaves Matthew Quirk, the smuggler from Clachanmore, in charge of the house to check that everything is all right. Whilst he is there, whilst he's here, Matthew Quirk orders a very large number of plants from the seedsman in Ayr, and this is the list of the plants. It's not a very good day for this, and the list is actually 4 pages long, but he orders all these plants. I'm going to read them out to you in a moment, and he orders all the plants, all these plants as well. He orders, I'm going to say it again, and all these plants he orders, oh, I'm going to let go. And finally, we've got a short bit at the end, all those plants he orders for here. So all these plants are ordered in 1780 time for Ardwell. So what we have done for this afternoon is Katie has got a mock-up of a plant catalogue, because the pictures that are in the catalogue are roughly of the right date at the time when Matthew Quirk ordered the plants. And I'm going to read out the list of different plants that he was actually ordering, and the way we won't quite synchronise, but Katie is going to get, we can try, but we can try to do that, because they're both in alphabetical order. But the idea is, how did he, but my question to myself and to the world is, how did Matthew Quirk know what to order, and why, when he was only house sitting here, did he have the stupid idea that he would be here long enough to be able to see the plants flower? So he had auriculas, and this is the auricula, which we know now as a plant. But even back in the 18th century, there were large numbers of different types of auriculas, and so Matthew Quirk orders two plants of the Bishop of Durham, the Bishop of Oxford, the Bishop of York, the Coquette of Bath, the Coquette of Halifax, the Garland of Yarmouth, the Gloria of Deptford, the Grants Supreme, the Harlequin Trimmed, King John, the Milkmaid's Delight, and the Pompeii. So all those were his auriculas, and he ordered 2 plants of each of those. He then ordered 2 bachelor's button. Now, his bachelor's button were white, but unfortunately the only bachelor's button that I was able to find is a yellow one. But he ordered the bachelor's button as well to have here. We don't have a picture of the campanula, but he ordered 2 blue campanulas and 2 white. He ordered the catchfly, which is the next one we have. Oh, I went to Broome. Well, I didn't have the catchfly. He ordered the catchfly, so he had 2 of the catchfly. Now, in those days, the catchfly was a much smaller flower, I think, than the catchfly I've got in the garden is a bigger plant. And I learned this when I was working at Clachanmore, and we were trying to reproduce their 18th century garden. You don't go by the name and the modern plant because you get something completely wrong. You have to go to a seed specialist who has seeds and uses those. Christmas rose. Okay, we'll wait a minute. He ordered the carnelian cherry that Katie has a picture of, with a lot of decorative shrubs. Now, when Francis Brewis was here, we had a shot at working out from this list whether there was anything still in the garden growing here that Matthew Quirk had ordered. Now, clearly, none of Matthew Quirk's plants would have survived, but there is the odd plant here that he had on his catalogue. But it's wrong to say there's a Matthew Quirk plant. The hellebore, right. This comes a bit later down. I've got the Christmas rose, 2 Christmas roses, 2 columbines, 2 parsley-leaved elder, 2 feverfew, 2 double filipendula, and 2 of the hellebore. So he ordered 2 white hellebore, which is what a plant well known to us. But again, that hellebore, I think they were running as a smaller plant. We've got a hellebore developed into a much bigger plant now than he had, and there are large ones somewhere here, which again we can't call Matthew Quirk's plants. Honeysuckle is your next one, I'm sure. Yep. Yes. He had 2 early white honeysuckle, and he had 2 red honeysuckle. So that's not particularly special, but he did actually order those plants. He's ordering, if you look around you here, he's ordering plants for a walled garden, and he's going to have some very attractive plants in his walled garden that he's babysitting briefly.
How many gardeners did he have?
At this stage they didn't have any because all the staff had been sent away because there was no one to pay them because William Maxwell was on the run. I haven't a clue. Laurustinus. He got 2 Laurustinus. We don't have a picture of the lavender spike, but he had 2 lavender spike. He had lilac. And the lilac again is it's not as dense a head, the lilac, as the lilac that we recognise. This is why we felt it was important to show you his catalogue, because he's looking, it's what we've said before, it's trying to imagine what life was like for them. If we have our vision of what our plants look like, we're not actually seeing what he's seeing. So to get it as close as we can with that is useful. He had a lily, yes, you got the lily, yeah. He had 2 dwarf lilies, 2 golden stripes, that's the most gold striped lily, and 2 special species lily. We don't have a picture of the London Pride. Okay, he had 2 London Pride, he had 4 Daphne. The Malays we saw going into, he had two of those. The painted Lady Daisy he had. Then he had several roses, including the moss rose. The other roses he had were Gelder, Virginia Gelder, May Rose, Rose of Monday, White Rose, and Velvet Rose. Now his Rose of Monday is spelled M-O-N-D-E-I, and I have chased that as a spelling for a long time. And then one day I thought, let's try Monday, and I found a fantastic website with lots of photographs of the Rose of Monday. So it's quite a full, beautiful rose, but these are photographs of the version of it. Periwinkle. Now this is the pink periwinkle. We always look at the periwinkle as blue. Matthew Quirk did order 2 large blue periwinkles. He had 2 gold periwinkles, 2 Madagascar, 2 silver striped, and a pink. So we have the idea of that as well. Pinks, yes. Now the pinks, carnations, whatever you were to call them, the pink. This again is a different flower from the one that we associate with the pink. It's very clearly not as small this time. It's almost that much a large picture. It's a larger plant. He had 6 border pinks of sorts, 2 Dorset pinks, 2 milkmaids pinks, 2 Princess Royal, 2 Saram, and 2 Superb. He goes on to what's our next one? Tutson, yeah. Well, he has Polyanthus poplar. He has Tutson. Now, I still can't remember the other name, but he has. I had a Tutson shrub in the garden, and it was very small, and I cut down the shrub beside it. I now have a Tutson shrub and a garden because it has become absolutely enormous. And I've had other examples in the 18th century. I think the Tutson was large in the 18th century as well, in terms of a plant, a very fast growing plant, and that's the last we have the picture of. But finally he had 2 Paracanthus. So this is a smuggler ordering all these plants that are here. Whether he'd gone before they arrived, he never paid the seedsman the 11th own, and that is why, miracle upon miracles, we actually know that he actually bought the plants. And it was because Matthew Quirk went bankrupt and everybody put in their requests for money that, to my utter amazement, I turn over and the next one's this lot. And you cannot imagine the excitement of discovering a plant list like this. It's one of the very few that I've got to this date of all the plants somebody ordered for garden. And here we are. In the meantime, he's left. William Maxwell has come home with poor Babs Moore, his wife now, and she dies sadly. But I do know one of the descendants of William Maxwell and Babs Moore, who lives close to me at home. So there we have Ardwell. Thank you. On Mantray, and we're going to go past there on our way back into Dromore, so that we will have seen again, like the McCullochs, a bigger partner and a smaller partner. The second partner being of convenience when you think that we're quite a way away from the shore at the moment. You've got a story about him in your notes, but the most significant thing about him was, as I say, that he bought Ardwell from William Maxwell. And looking at the location, you can see why it was very attractive to him, because it basically backed onto him, and he had quite a splendid estate. He then sold it on for no apparent reason. Perhaps he felt uncomfortable with it, and by then I believe that the curse of Ardwell had started. Thank you. Ardwell, there was James McGuffock, who was a tenant at the farm. When we get to High Ardwell, we're looking towards the left. When we get to High Ardwell, all these were salt smugglers. James Adams, who was a fowl and egg dealer, Mary Glass, who was his wife, Peter McMaster, who was the farmer, William McMaster, who was a grocer and spirit dealer, Andrew McWilliam, who was a wright, and Catherine Nummerin, who was housekeeper to Peter McMaster and the wife of William McMaster. And they were all charged in the court in Edinburgh with salt smuggling and fined. Thank you. To this William Maxwell owed rent to William Maxwell. We also had a John McCulloch living there. Thank you. To investigate salt smuggling. He said it was on a small scale, but everybody did it. Every farm used the salt for their own purposes, which was for salting fish, salting meat, mainly so it could preserve through the winter. Little float, we not only have information about the salt smugglers, but also the people who bore witness against them. Yes. So, we have Thomas Heron, we have James McDowell, who is also referred to as a gentleman, and William McDowell. I'm not at all sure ever if they're members of the McDowell family because they're clearly spelt McDowell. They were salt smugglers. But the next crowd of people all gave witness in court against them to say they were smuggling the salt. And all these people were harvest workers to James McDowell. They were John Greer, John Heron, William Keane and John MacDonald. So they were basically spying on what was happening at Little Float. Thank you. Well, there were some salt smugglers. Robert Chalmers, a labourer, and William Johnston, a shoemaker, who had lived at Float Bay before he moved to Auchintibbet. They were both charged in Edinburgh with salt smuggling. William McWhirter and James Thorburn, who all lived here. The people who gave evidence against them were David Forgy, who was a grocer, Elizabeth Leggett, who was a labourer's wife, and Anne Wilson. It sounds as if those two women were affronted in some way, and that's why they gave the evidence. But they did actually go to Edinburgh, they felt so strongly. Thank you. Was a farmer and Thomas Milne was a labourer, and they're our final salt smugglers for today. Thank you.